Why don't you introduce yourself to a comedy legend here, Chris Cody? Go ahead. I can't believe we've got, and I can say this is a comedy legend because this is a comedy legend. I will not have anyone say otherwise. Why don't you introduce him the way that you like to introduce generally dogs?
What up, doggy?
Triumph the Insult Comic Dog.
Beautiful.
Is with
Thank
us. You're welcome. Thank you for being on with us. He's a legend, and he has a game show, Triumph the Insult Comic Dogs. Let's make a poop.
Let's make a poop. Yes.
You can watch.
I am here.
You can
It's
watch
all about the poop.
the live special on Triumph's YouTube channel, Triumph the Insult Comic Dog HQ, and on Team Coco's YouTube channel. Conan.
It's that good. It's that good. It's on 2 channels.
He is here, though, covering the Donald Trump trial for us from New York. Very happy to have you, Triumph. Thank you for joining us.
It's an honor to be here, Dan. But look, I'm a fan of the show, and I have to, before we get into the Trump stuff, I just have to talk about, because you guys, this is way beyond sports. You guys break news all the time. Like just the other day on Twitter, I see the headline, breaking. NBC has contacted John Tesh about reviving the iconic NBA on NBC theme song, Round Ball Rock. Well, of course, I hurried to click. I hurried. I couldn't wait. I figured out how to do it. I don't have a thumb, but it worked out. And I see the clip, and you guys have Tesh on, and you're talking about it like this is a great thing, and you're celebrating. Oh, yes, even though we're losing inside the NBA, at least we're getting round ball rock. Hooray. What a great deal. We're trading Charles Barkley for John Tesh. That's a fair trade. Maybe we can trade Kenny Smith for Yanni. You realize this is the only good show left on regular television inside the NBA. It's better than half the games. But no, it's more important. We get to hear that old song again when the game starts. A song nobody under 40 gives a shit about. No, you can't curse? Can I curse?
Yes, you can curse. But I think you need to ask Robert to move his ear a little bit so that we can...
Jew over here. Get with the program. The guy's like 80 years old. Cut him some slack.
Hey, what an amateur. Well, you've been on television for a long time. You would think he'd be able
to... Wait a minute. You call this television? Slow down. Slow down.
Let's talk about the big
well, no. I have more. You guys, you're all there talking. Oh, Teshi, you're going to get an orchestra. Hooray. For what? That whatever the What's the other? It sounds just like the TBS song. What's that? It's all the same song.
Triumph.
Seriously, even the CBS one before Tesh. Do you remember that one? It's all the same lyrics. There's no difference. It's like saying, "Hey, we're losing Charles Barkley, but instead of Sprite, you're going to get to drink 7-Up." Like makes no difference.
Come on.
Is the point? And now you know who's really at fault? We're losing the best show. That David Zaslav guy. You know who that is? He owns Warner Brothers now.
Yes,
the cheapskate. We all learned about him during the writer's strike. He didn't want to pay the money. And now, what's he going to replace it with? He's going to replace everything with Shark Week, I think.
Can we get
He loves Shark Week. He loves Shark Week because fish don't need health insurance. But I want to say one more thing. Tuesday's show, the passion that Mike guy had getting dragged out. That was so inspiring.
Mike Ryan, Ruiz.
Mike, yes, bravely yelling chicken shit as he's being pulled out of the room, screaming Jason Tatum stats. It was like those kids protesting global warming. It was exactly like that when the Chevron CEO is speaking, It's important, though, Dan, to stand up for what matters. Like our planet being poisoned or Jason Tatum not being great in the playoffs. Like the old saying, first they came for Jason Tatum being good in the playoffs and I did not speak out. Then they came for Karl Anthony Towns taking too many three-pointers and I did not speak out.
Can we
Good
talk
for
about
Michael.
the trial or no?
Yes, the trial. Yes, here we go. The trial.
And please, I ask you, Triumph, be careful with Robert's ear and his hair. It keeps getting in the shot.
My God, okay. Seriously, suddenly you guys are perfectionists on the show. You let the psychopath scream about Jason Tatum for a half an hour and you're worried about the Jew's ear? Fine, whatever it takes.
The trial.
Oh, yes.
What's
been
it
very exciting. Yes, New York's been flooded with reporters because this is, of course, the least important of the Trump cases, but the only one that involves a porn star.
That's true.
Oh, we're on pins and needles. You guys, who do you think is going to win in the case? The bleached blonde with the huge jugs or Stormy Daniels? You know, the stakes are so high. That's why people are here. I mean, if Trump is found guilty, there's such high stake. Think about it. If Trump is found guilty, he could serve up to 4 years in the White House. I'm sorry. I feel bad for the guy, you know? The one time he actually pays someone, they indict him for it. The guy can't catch a break. You know, if this can happen to Trump, it can happen to you guys, right?
No.
Am I right? I mean, okay, maybe not. I mean, you guys would never need to pay a woman hush money, as if any woman after having sex with you would tell anyone. Amin, is Amin there?
Yes, he's here. Yes, be careful.
I mean, it's got to be strange, this whole thing, for you to hear about women being paid for their silence, since when you would pay extra for them to be loud.
Oh, wait, hold on. Wait, who you been talking to?
I just picked your name at random.
No, this is why Amin doesn't like dogs.
This is one of the many reasons. Trump has been able to delay his other cases, though.
Yes, he has. He's been so successful at getting cases delayed, they made him an honorary Southwest Airlines pilot.
That cigar.
Stormy, that was exciting when Stormy came.
What was that like?
Wait.
Oh, I tell you, everyone was so thrilled. I mean, it was historic. After 17 years, Trump finally made her come. Fatum.
He does his own.
He does his own rim
Listen,
shot.
the women, I'm sure the women on your staff must feel some sisterhood with Stormy Daniels. I mean, even Pablo Torre must relate in some way. I mean, because I have to assume tons of guys have offered Pablo money just to keep his mouth shut as well.
We can't see the trial, but I do find it, I guess, moderately compelling whenever Trump emerges during the breaks and rants sort of nonsensically.
Oh,
to
yeah,
the
it's a
cameras.
corrupt judge, the most crooked judge in the history of the world. But he also farts constantly. And even worse, he throws the sound of his farts across the room to make it seem like other people are doing it. He ventriloquistes. He's so full of shit. Trump's farts are so bad, the defense team had to bring in Post Malone as an air freshener. You see, because he smells. Trump's defense team nicknamed him Saddam Hussein because he won't stop gassing his own people.
Oh, come on.
Too soon.
What? That's what?
Too soon.
Too soon from 20 years ago. Oh my God. You know, but he deserves it, man. The guy's sleazy. Do you know Trump wasn't wearing a condom when he had sex with Stormy?
Yeah.
He pulled out so fast you'd think her vagina was NATO.
The cigar is falling apart, Triumph. He does
That's
seem
part of the act. That's part of the act.
he seems unhinged though at this point.
Oh, the whole thing's getting to him. Have you seen any of his rallies lately? Yeah, Trump's definitely kind of losing it. He's even started to slur his slurs. You know, he keeps talking, you know. I mean, the judge slapped him with a gag order, but if the judge really wants to shut Trump up, he should ask him to clarify his stance on abortion. Then he'll be quiet for quite a while.
Or just turn off the prompter. He's got congressmen flying in to make speeches
Yes.
outside the courthouse too.
Yes, all these suck-ups. And did you notice they're all wearing the same gray suit and red tie? It's like they matched. I couldn't tell if they were in a cult or if Men's Warehouse had a 2-for-1 sale. I mean, they're so eager to please and follow commands. I'm surprised Kristi Noem didn't shoot them.
Oh,
That's
Wow.
hey, I'm a dog. I'm allowed to make that
That
joke.
is. You are allowed.
You know what was great though? You know who I loved seeing among the in the courtroom, outside the courtroom? Did you see Joe Piscopo was there too? It wasn't to support Trump though. Joe Piscopo just has to be on camera at least once a year to keep his SAG-AFTRA health insurance.
There were a lot of people, including me, that were hoping that Trump would testify.
Yeah, no, that was never going to happen. But he explained it though. He said it's not that he's guilty; he's just shy in front of crowds. Now, I think his team was afraid that if he had to be sworn in with his hand on the Bible, it would burst into flames.
Yeah, there is that possibility.
But he's smart, you know. He's very smartly. He's got like 3 more trials, and everybody's worried for him. But he's very smart, you know. Because when he was president, he pushed all these environmental policies that guaranteed that the world would end before half his trials finished.
Do you have any opinions on who his vice presidential pick will be? Any sense?
Yes, we're still talking. I like Vivek, you know. I still think he's got the chance, you know. He represents the American dream, the son of immigrants who grew up to hate immigrants. Usually takes 3 generations to hate immigrants. Vivek did it in 1. You know, and people love the name Vivek Ramaswamy because just saying his name, Republicans love it. Ramaswamy. It feels like saying 3 ethnic slurs in a row. But this is a very important, you know, we joke and we kid, but I want people to take this election seriously, you know, because this November, Americans have to ask themselves, what kind of dementia do they want in the White House?
It's true.
They want wandering in the park in a robe dementia, that's Biden. Or if you want random noises, and Hannibal Lecter was quite a guy, dementia, that's a Trump. It's more of a Trump vibe.
What about RFK?
RFK Jr., I don't think we can handle. I think people know that they can't handle 4 years of that guy. Think about it. After spending just a couple of weeks around Kennedy's mind, even his worm took its own life.
We appreciate all of your intellect, your comedy, your insight. But tell us about your live show because you.
Yes, I have a live show coming up at the Den Theater in Chicago. It's a week from Monday, right at the start of Pride Month, or as Harrison Butker calls it, Juke. Yes. Nice guy.
You seem to know some sports. People,
I do.
People in Chicago, Jessica among them, are very excited about Caleb Williams. Are you?
You know, not just Caleb Williams. I thought the whole NFL draft was very exciting, the first round, you know? I mean, think about it. For the first time ever in an NFL draft, did you know this? 5 of the first 10 players drafted were fathered by Nick Cannon. No, it's a great time to be in Chicago, though. It really is in June. The cicadas drown out the gunshots. You know, there were 45 shootings over one weekend recently. Even the NRA said that's too many. And now they're proposing a ban on weekends.
Can we talk about your game show, please?
Yes, you may talk about, but please, you please, me please.
Yes.
Let's make a poop. I'm the host, and we ask celebrity panelists questions, kind of like Jeopardy, and you have to try to guess a funny answer. That's how it works. Can I play with you?
Oh, we would love to. But do you want to tell us anything about the guest panelists? Anything about the famous?
Let's couple of questions, and then we'll get the.
Let's play the game, Dan.
All right.
I want you to understand how the game works first. Human beings are separated by this. Human beings are separated from this by only a single chromosome. Can you guess?
From this?
Like primates, right?
Like a
like
single
chimpanzee?
chromosome baboon.
No, sorry. The correct answer is, what is Marjorie Taylor Greene?
Okay.
He would have also accepted Jake and Logan Paul.
Okay.
Try another one. In 2023, sales of Bud Light dropped significantly due to this.
I know this one. They had an endorser who was a trans person, and that's
No. Sorry. The correct answer is, what is Ben Affleck having a dry January? That's why the sales dropped significantly.
Okay, understood. So whatever we think is the correct answer is the wrong answer. That's the way.
No, you're supposed to guess the funny answer. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Did I not say that?
No. Well, you're funnier than we are. Let's make a poop. It's a live game show.
It's a live game show we did a show with Weird Al Yankovic.
Oh.
And that's the one that's on YouTube. It's a very funny special for people to watch. But in Chicago, so far we have Ryan Dempster. You know that guy from the Cubs.
Yep.
He's a broadcast. And we have former Governor Rod Blagojevich.
No way.
Really?
Yes.
He's out?
Yes, after terrible scandal.
Trump pardoned him, I think.
He sold
Yes.
Obama's seat, right?
Yes. And now he's out. And it's still 10 days away. So we have time to pry Blagojevich out of Trump's ass.
He will be at the Den Theater in Chicago Monday, June 3rd, and you can watch Triumph's special, Let's Make a Poop, in San Francisco with Weird Al and many others at the Team Coco page on YouTube. What Conan O'Brien and Triumph have done over the years is really amazing. So to Triumph and your cohort Robert's Ear, we thank you.
That was the Turner one. It's the same song.
Richard, thank you for being on with us. Let me tell the audience there was a big story in Front Office Sports that I felt like it flew under the radar this week, at least in part because people don't really understand what's happening and a whole lot of rule changing all around us that is making college sports something crazier than it's ever been. The headline on the story was a breathtaking lobbying campaign, the NCAA's sophisticated effort to save amateurism. Richard Ford joins us now. I'm going to read what I think are a couple of pretty shocking paragraphs in this article. Quote, behind the scenes, the NCAA and Power 5 have coordinated a sophisticated campaign in Congress over the past 5 years to bring back amateurism for good. They want to not only halt future reforms, but also potentially reverse the gains already made. Richard, you're a former walk-on the Duke basketball team for one of Coach K's first teams. You're the team captain, or were the team captain, and you've got a podcast called the BigAmatuerism Monologues, and you're pulling back the curtain on some of this stuff. So thank you for joining us, and tell us what it is that you made of both this article and in general the craziness of the last 5 years.
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you, Dan, for having me. And that was a great article. I thought a gutsy article by Amanda Kristovich at Front Office Sports. And that quote is really important because what's been happening in Congress, and to press rewind, really this whole congressional debate began in 2019. And it was a response to the California Name, Image, and Likeness Law, SB 206, the Fair Pay to Play Act. And there was a bill put in by Mark Walker, Republican from North Carolina, in the House that would give the the athletes some no compensation and put some pressure on the NCAA. At that point, the NCAA and Power 5 were faced with a very important choice. Do they deal with those two things as one-off threats and use the whack-a-mole approach, which they had traditionally used, or do they look at their chessboard, step back, look at all the external regulatory threats that were mounting then? And you had state legislatures with SB 206. You had federal antitrust litigation, which is a really hot issue right now. You had federal administrative agencies through the National Labor Relations Board under the National Labor Relations Act. You had the potential for Congress doing something that the NCAA and Power 5 didn't want them to do. Then you had the potential for some free market activity, which is also an external regulatory threat. So the NCAA and Power 5 looked at their chessboard. They wanted to deal with all of these external regulatory threats in one fell swoop. And they came up with a brilliant plan. I mean, when you look at it I'm a lawyer, from a lawyer's standpoint, and I look at what they put together, I mean, it's really sophisticated. So they wanted three things, okay? And this was really to neutralize these external regulatory threats. They wanted the federal preemption of state laws. So they wanted the federal government to say to the states, you cannot regulate in college sports. And the name, image, and likeness laws, any revenue sharing laws, any laws that were inconsistent with the NCAA's regulatory authority would get wiped off the map with the stroke of a pen. Second, they wanted absolute antitrust immunity so that they could continue to violate America's free competition laws with impunity, imposing their compensation limits on athletes. And those compensation limits are really directed to controlling the labor force in football and men's basketball. That's what this is all about. They want to control the labor force. And the third thing they want, and this is so important right now because it could be in play after this, global settlement, and then the NCAA and Power Five go to Congress. The NCAA and Power Five want a provision from Congress that, as a matter of federal law, athletes cannot be employees of their institutions. What's the consequence of that? It means that they would not have standing to pursue their rights under the National Labor Relations Act. They couldn't engage in collective bargaining. They couldn't force the NCAA and Power Five to a bargaining table, and they would be left with really not much of a remedy to get some of these non-economic issues like health and safety, like work conditions, like the athlete voice on the table. So what we're seeing right now, what that paragraph referred to, is that you have all this activity on compensation, but behind the scenes, the NCAA, through some of the most powerful lobbyists in America, are trying to set the table for protective federal legislation that would allow them to roll back the NIL market and then to prevent athletes from forcing the NCAA and Power Five to a bargaining table in the future.
Richard, there's a lot of stuff here that's appalling, but according to your research, when you talk about those lobbyists, it's $7 million between 2019 and 2023 that they have an in-house Office of Government Relations where they're getting some expensive lobbyists here to protect the injustice. Where's that money coming from? Who's paying the lobbyists to protect the injustice?
Yeah, Dan, that's such a good point. And one of the things that we've talked about is that all of the revenue that the NCAA gets comes from March Madness money. They don't get a penny of football money because of a 1984 Supreme Court decision, Board of Regents, which gave the Power Five football interest their football freedom, financial freedom. So the NCAA relies exclusively on revenue from Division I men's basketball and the March Madness tournament. Those athletes, the labors of those athletes, are being used and then taken by the NCAA to fund their Office of Government Relations. And we don't know what the budget is. That doesn't show up as a line item on their budget on the Form 990 tax returns that they have to file every year. And then they have outside experts. They have Brownstein Hyatt, which is the #1 ranked lobbying firm in Washington, D.C. And they are damn good at what they do. I'm not criticizing the lobbyists. They're very, very good at what they do. And when I look at how they have orchestrated this congressional campaign and navigated it through 4 years, and it's made much more progress than a lot of people will acknowledge. And I think it's invisible to the public. But I admire the craft of these lobbyists. But I fundamentally disagree with what they're trying to accomplish for their clients. And I fundamentally disagree with the tactics that they have used, because they've used some divisive utilitarian-based tactics to try to divide the few who are the revenue producers who actually underwrite this entire business model, and the many who are beneficiaries of the existing business model, because that money from football and men's basketball goes downstream to fund non-revenue and Olympic sports and women's sports. And we're not talking honestly about what's happening here. And that $7 million figure you mentioned, Dan, was really just for the NCAA. It doesn't include the Power Five.
Rich, I have a million questions. I'm going to try to be as quickly go to these as quickly as possible. Right now, I've spoken to a lot of student athletes. They have no idea that this is happening. They are unaware, and it kind of feels like the ruling class has been planning this for quite a while, which is why Charlie Baker was brought in to get one over on the people that don't have a union, that aren't really super aware of this, that don't have a unified voice. They want to take this settlement, which on the surface level, a settlement is great. It behooves everybody to take the money right now, but in turn, going to Congress and asking them to codify this actually puts the student athletes behind an 8 ball they don't even know exist. And that's not even the non-revenue sports, which I don't know how, with antitrust laws, how Title IX gets considered in there. I know I've thrown a lot at you, but this is a very tangled web, and it's happening kind of under the cover of darkness.
Yeah, there are a few things that you addressed there I want to tackle. I think that the athletes don't know what's happening here, and that's one of the real problems. And that's why we started this DYK project. We have the DYK Media website, and can I plug my website? Am I allowed to do that?
I'll do it for you.
You just did.
dykmedia.io. dykmedia.io. If you want more research. It's Did You Know Media, and his podcast is the Big Amateurism Monologues. But I don't know which parts of this you wanted to tackle, but the settlement and the Title IX stuff both of them are interesting.
Yes. So the purpose of our project, the reason I wanted to inject that is that what we're trying to do is take some of this complicated stuff and get it to athletes where they live. It's a challenge because nobody's really been able to penetrate the athlete community to speak on these terms and what's really happening in Congress. This settlement, one caveat, there have been selective leaks, strategic leaks. We don't know what this settlement looks like. And I'm going to keep my powder dry until we have an actual document that the parties are prepared to present to the judges. And remember, there are 3 cases that are going to be settled here. House, which has gotten so much attention, that's name, image, and likeness. Hubbard, which is back Austin payments. And then Carter, which is all compensation limits. The same lawyers, Jeffrey Kessler and Steve Berman, represent the athletes in all 3 of those cases. And we don't really know what the form of the settlement is going to look like. So I think I don't want to criticize it. I want athletes to get more money. I'm in favor of athletes getting something closer to what they're worth, rather than these incremental fixed sums that really don't do a lot to address the equity issues as I see them. Then you have this Title IX piece, and that's a complicated piece. And there's been a lot of pushback in the House litigation. The NCAA and Power 5 used Title IX really as kind of a defense to the plaintiff's claims. And they were saying that in this formula that the athletes experts had put together, where Power 5 football, men's basketball players, and then to a lesser extent, women's basketball players, were going to get the lion's share of the money. And this is for the damages component, not the revenue sharing, just the damages component. But they said that money's going to the men. And there's a Title IX issue here, and you cannot create a remedy in this antitrust suit that creates a violation of Title IX. They've used the Title IX arguments in Congress. They've been very, very effective as a wedge issue, and I think it's a divisive issue. They haven't come up with any evidence to show that women are being harmed in this name, image, and likeness market. They just want the presumption of harm to be their goal. And so we have this environment where Title IX is front and center. And it's our belief that there's plenty of money and plenty of equity to go around in college sports. I think that the issue with this settlement, you have the damages payouts. I don't know what that's going to look like. It's going to have to account for Title IX, but more importantly, the revenue sharing going forward, where the universities are making these payments. And in that context, Title IX undoubtedly applies because those universities are receiving federal funds and they're subject to Title IX. What those allocations look like, and it could vary from school to school, but I think that if I'm, talking to the general counsel at a Power 5 school, I'm going to advise them to err on the side of Title IX compliance, whether that results in equal shares of this money, this money with a $20 million cap for revenue sharing. I don't know. But I do think that there's going to be Title IX litigation on the backside of that. One of the ironies of this whole global settlement is the NCAA and Power 5 want everybody to believe this is going to solve all of the litigation issues. Well, on the backside of this revenue sharing agreement, depending on how the schools, allocate that money, there could be additional litigation. There's a case pending right now in federal district court in Oregon, where a group of female athletes have sued the university and really targeting the collective money, saying the collective is actually acting as an agent of the university, which means Title IX would apply, and that too much money is going to the men. We need more money going to the women. So those issues are percolating. And I think you're going to see on the backside of this settlement, if it goes through and this revenue sharing goes through, you're going to see some Title IX pushback.
This would give the ruling class all the benefits of capitalism while capping the labor force to what they could make. I've been really concerned about this because it's got all the warning signs. It's happening so quickly, even though this has been a 5-year plan. It's operated in the shadows. I've been dismissed by a lot of people who are pretty well informed that say, try to have Congress pass something in an election year right now. There's no way this happens, especially since the labor force here is going to eventually be taken for a ride, even though it initially be celebrated as, look, here's all this money. Who doesn't want money that you weren't expecting? Do you think this actually gets passed in Congress?
Yeah, I mean that's the big question, and there are two responses to that. I agree with your analysis. I really think you're framing it well. Um, it's not just the likelihood of Congress acting. You have to look at the consequence if they do. So even if there's a small likelihood that they act, what they might do with these federal protections and immunities would forever impair athletes' rights and treat many college athletes as second-class citizens. Would be denied the basic freedoms that most Americans enjoy and take for granted. So, I think that you also have to look, and I paid very, very close attention to these hearings. I've studied the congressional campaign, and it has a rhythm. And over the course of the debate, particularly on this employee issue, you've seen movement away from sort of an athlete-centric way of thinking about this, more towards protecting the institutional interests through a no employee provision. And that's a dangerous dynamic. So I think, you have to look at people say it was after the elections and, nothing's going to happen. I have a different view. They have worked this particular Congress very carefully, and they have positioned some important decision makers, notably some moderate Democrat women who have been very tuned into the Title IX issues that the NCAA are using to kind of shape federal legislation. And you're going to have a lot of turnover in Congress after the elections. One of the key committees is the House Energy and Commerce Committee. That committee is going to have enormous turnover. And so the NCAA and Power Five, I don't think their lobbyists want to have to re-educate a whole new class of congressmen and women. I think that you have this settlement that's moving along on a pace where it could be approved by August, maybe September, depending on how much pushback it gets. Then you have the election, and then you have this period between the election and January when the new Congress is seated, where I think you could see the NCAA Power Five come in, and just really put the pressure on Congress to get something with these legislators that they have been working for several years now.
Richard,
that's my concern.
You have a lot of expertise here, and it's quite the thicket, but just your best assumption here, or best guess based on the thoroughness of how it is you've attacked this subject for a long time. The leaks on the settlement feel to me the way that Don King used to put a suitcase of cash in front of Muhammad Ali and say, here's $1 million, sign your life away. And he would sign because he didn't realize what the value of his future earnings are. Yes or no? They should accept the settlement. Athletes should be okay with the settlement. Yes or no?
I can't give you a yes or no because I haven't seen the settlement. They need more money, but I don't know what the settlement looks like. And I should also point out, there's an important thing hanging out there right now. And there's a lawsuit in Colorado that is almost identical to Carter. The Colorado case is called Fontenot versus NCAA. It's challenging all NCAA compensation limits. The NCAA and the plaintiffs in the Berman Kessler cases want to get Fontenot transferred to California so it can be brought within the settlement. There's some interesting fighting going on. Just recently, just within the last 48 hours, the athletes in Fontenot filed a brief because there's going to be a hearing very soon on whether that case is going to be transferred. In that brief, they attacked the settlement and raised 4 or 5 really good points, again, with the caveat that we haven't seen the agreement, that I think are going to be some interesting points to discuss. There's going to be pushback to the settlement. There's no question about that. Should the athletes get more money? Absolutely. I just can't opine on saying yes to this settlement or no to this settlement unless I see the terms.
But what you should be saying is these motherfuckers are trying to do it again. They're trying to cheat the whole thing again. That's what they're trying to do. Let's smoke them out. Richard, smoke them out. Whether their settlement is fraudulent, no matter what it is, because they're trying to get over on the kids.
Well, yeah, I mean, again, I'm reluctant to
yes
put it
is the answer.
in those terms,
Richard,
but I will say,
Richard, yes is the answer.
It's a little bit more nuanced.
Okay,
yours is
Dan,
more nuanced. Yours is
hey,
more.
Dan, let me correct the record. Yes.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate
the
it.
expert.
The Big Amateurism Monologues is the podcast. And if you want more information on his research, dykmedia.io. Richard, thank you for the expertise, sir.
Yes, it's great to see you guys. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, sir.
Keep up the good work. I know it's a very complicated
Yes, it is good
thing
work.
to explain.
It is good work. He's doing good work on behalf of the kids.
I've spoken to 20 student athletes. They have no idea this thing.
No
is even
idea.
happening.
Richard is out here advocating for him. These lobbyists, they're trying to steal all future monies. Jessica had to leave on assignment, and Stugatz did do all the God Bless Football stuff, but never actually showed up to what we were doing today. So we will catch up with him at another time. I suppose that we all saw him here. He was here for many hours.
Lacrosse Final Four, Dan.
I don't know what happened to Stugatz.
I
We all
smell
saw him
cigarettes
here.
around
yes,
here.
we smell heaters. But I saw that Cameron Brink made Kawhi Leonard laugh more than anyone's ever heard him laugh, and also made Shohei Ohtani speak perfect English. Like, we all saw what happened there, correct? She has had an unbelievable star turn here where she can make Kawhi Leonard laugh in a way that makes us be like, wait a minute, who? What?
She made Shohei speak perfect English is funny. It's just like she's the chosen one. She just comes in and like healed him, just touched him on his hand. He's like, I speak perfect English now.
I'm convinced that Shohei is sort of like my Cuban great-grandmother, though, who, like, selectively didn't speak English. It's one of those things.
Every single international player.
Right.
Every single one of them. Anytime you ask him to do something, like, and then anytime it's like, man, we're going out and get something to eat, like, yeah, cool, let's go to I'm like, whoa,
Like
where'd
he
this come from?
selectively forgot that he placed all those allegedly.
No, hey.
Allegedly. This is the Taylor Rooks phenomenon, though, where every player who sits in front of her all of a sudden says, yes, I'm going to win 7 MVPs, because all of a sudden the man has something inside of him that he didn't know could come out, whether it's laughter or English, because he's in the presence. He's in the presence of
such
company.
a great basketball player. Like, once you are around the number, she's number 2. The number 2 pick does that to everybody. You know what I mean?
Defensive stalwart.
Exactly. Great block at the end of the game to secure the win the other night. Good God Almighty.
Let's go to Tony here, though, because Tony is our man on the street. And let's just play this Bill Simmons sound and also test this Bill Simmons sound, because the Florida Panthers look like they are Stanley Cup champion worthy. They lead the Rangers 1-0 after beating them 3-0 last night. And here's Bill Simmons telling Florida and the Florida Panthers, we don't know where you play. Nobody does.
Florida fans, settle down. You didn't know what hockey was until like 1993. You literally didn't have hockey. You've never won a cup. The average person who follows sports has no idea what city you're attached to. You're the Florida Panthers. Are you in Jacksonville? Are you in Orlando? Are you in Palm Beach? Nobody knows. The answer is Miami. But literally most people don't know that.
I love
Sunrise.
The answer's not Miami. The answer is Sunrise or Sawgrass, if you prefer.
Congrats. But also, I love how he says 1993.
Why are you congratulating me?
Not you. I'm congratulating him.
But what are you
For
congratulating
being
him?
ignorant.
Okay.
For being ignorant. And also for thinking that 1993 is like yesterday. They didn't even have it until 1993. Dude, most of the players in the league weren't born in 1993.
If you're going to be condescending, be right, is really the message.
And also,
Jack.
don't be a relic of some distant past, you 20 CBS MFer.
This is one of my specialties, being condescending and wrong. I believe
Not you.
I'm an industry leader in that regard.
But
Tony,
you do it cool.
Not exactly. Tony, where are you? What are you doing? Are you going to test Bill Simmons' theory for us now?
Dan, hello. I'm usually at Bayside. I'm at my spot, and they kicked us out, unfortunately.
Classic.
Even though they didn't understand that we filmed there for a year and a half. They're like, hey, do you have stuff from management? I'm like, no, I don't need that. And they're like, yeah, you do. So they kicked us out. But we are outside of Miami-Dade College right now, attached to the Elster.
Oh.
Obviously, the fans are buzzing right now. Rose, if you can pan over, buzzing
Buzzing.
about
Look
the
at
Panthers
that. There
right
is
here.
genuine buzzing
Yeah,
over there.
they're congregating about the Panthers.
All right. So do you
I
have
just heard him
someone
say
to talk
Chuck
to?
and Barkov.
No, you did not. You
Yes,
did not
you did.
hear that at all. Go find somebody to talk to and get us an answer to the question of where do the Florida
You know what? We're going to
Panthers
start with
play.
these guys right here.
All right. Let's see. Let's follow Tony here and see where this ends up.
Guys, hello? Question for you guys. Do you guys follow hockey at all? No? Do you guys know where the Florida Panthers play?
Mic them, Tony.
You're Italian.
Put
Okay.
the mic
I like
to them.
that.
Mike, you gotta put the mic in front of them, Tony. Otherwise, we can't hear that
They
they
didn't
want to
want
talk
it.
to
They
you
didn't
because
want
they're
it.
Italian.
I know, they didn't want it.
Also,
They were
Tony.
Italian.
Also, Tony said, buongiorno. Then maybe that would have warmed them up a
I
little
should've.
bit. Yeah.
Also,
All right, we're
would
gonna
have
come over here, guys.
Helped if we could have heard them.
Guys, hello. How you guys doing? Are you guys excited about the Panthers or what? I
Where
told
do
you.
Where do
There
they
you-
play?
Do you guys know where they play?
the Panther Stadium. Yeah, where? In Miami.
Miami, right there, the one right there, right?
In the Panther Stadium.
Guys, right there, literally right there. Thank you guys.
Excellent journalism, Tony. You
More.
Let's
More.
go,
Let's
Yes,
double
please.
down.
No,
We got a couple
please.
more guys
Yes,
right here, Dan.
yes,
Hold on.
Please.
Yeah, this is going well. Let's keep doing it.
Yes.
Panther Stadium.
People
Guys,
on
you excited about the
camera will
Panthers or
say
what?
anything.
Panthers? Panthers, where do they play? Just take a guess.
Football?
They play football, yes, absolutely right.
Excellent
Nailed
work.
it, dude.
Excellent
Thank
work.
you, guys.
Thank you. Good work, Tony. Just keep hunting around.
Bryce
Keep-
Young has put some weight on. You excited about that? One more guy right here, Dano.
Yeah.
See if you can
My
find-
brother, really quick, Panthers, you excited?
Yeah, super excited. Go Panthers. Where do they play? Football.
Oh, baby, let's go.
They think
Bryce Young.
do they think he's saying what do they play?
I think we
Panthers?
should start.
Hold on, one more. Panthers? The Panthers hockey?
Panther, yes, sir.
Yeah. All right, we're out of here, Dano.
Excellent work.
He was about to get kicked out. He's just
Yeah,
like,
he
wait,
was.
Panthers?
Yeah,
Security guard.
I'll let you Panther your ass across the street.
Right there is so good. All right, let's make sure. Let's see if we could keep that going through next week and test the theory. Can we find a single person in Miami who knows where the Panthers play?
Oh, I thought you were going to say, can we find a single place Tony can tape without getting ejected?
That too. All sorts
11.
of
Let's send him to 11.
licensing. Oh, I don't think we can do that.
I'll go.
Did you say ogle? The thing that I wanted to talk about that I just saw on my television, because I don't want to make an accusation here without having all of my facts. But I just saw that on ESPN, Stephen A. Smith and First Take are promoting that Stephen A. Smith and his company have executive produced on ESPN Plus The History of Sports Media, a 3-part documentary about argument television and the evolution of sports media. And I think I was cut out of it.
Of course.
I'm not totally sure. I sat down with their team for about 90 minutes, and I don't know if I was cut out of it. I don't know. I haven't seen it yet. I remember that the interview wasn't great between me and them, where I wasn't giving them exactly what they wanted. I did not know exactly what they wanted, but I'm an opposing viewpoint on what debate television has done in general, corrosively, to how it is the athlete is covered and how cruel some coverage is. But I legitimately don't know if I ended up on the cutting room floor or not, and how should I feel if I was on the cutting room floor. Do you guys have interest in what it is that this is, which is just the history of sports debate television?
Dan, we're worried.
An iota.
We're worried right now about you because we saw a list here of all the names in it, and then at the end there's and others. So you might be others.
Chris, now I have a question for you. Who's a name on that list that you feel like Dan should be insulted?
Jeremy's got it. Let's go through the list.
I've got the full list, and maybe we can find it.
Okay. So
but wait a minute. Are you
no. We're going to figure out. This is what we're going to do. He's going to read the names. Some of these names, hey, you know what? Bigger than Dan LeBatard. I'll accept it. But some of them are not.
But I'm more interested, like, that part is interesting if I could get the insult of just being others, but I want to be able to kick and scream about the fact that my viewpoint was simply cut out of a documentary that I spent 90 minutes interviewing on, but I haven't seen it and don't know if I can make the accusation.
I'll be honest with you, Dan. If I were ESPN and I hated you as much as they hate you, I would make you sit down for 90 minutes and then cut you out.
It is perfect torture, right?
Yeah.
Sit down for 90 minutes, explain this to us.
As soon as you walk out, delete that shit, cuz.
They never hit record.
They weren't even rolling. The names.
That's why the lens was still on the camera, Dan.
The names on the list: Troy Aikman.
Okay, bigger than that.
Mina Kimes. Molly Kieram.
Don't
Shannon
react
Sharp.
every
Michael Wilbon.
Yes.
Hannah Storm.
Yes.
Chris Mad Dog Russo.
Yes.
Jamel Hill.
Yes.
Bomani Jones.
Yes.
Kerry Champion. And Cameron.
Yes.
Among many others.
Okay. So I heard about like 4 in there, and everyone else was, okay. I like how Cameron, I wonder what they asked Cameron. I wonder what Cameron said. Hey, I don't want to see Dan's part that got cut out. I want to see Cameron's part that got cut out. That's the part I want to watch of that documentary. I guarantee you it's more entertaining than the other 90 minutes and whatever was cut out.
Pink horsepower.
Clap these cheeks.
You underestimate me. What did you just do there?
Wait.
Cameron was on CNN and made a mess of CNN. And when you have Cameron on, you have to expect that he's not going to respect your television product. It's part. He's been doing that since Bill O'Reilly and telling Bill O'Reilly that
You mad?
You mad?
Ah.
He's been doing that for a long time. Can you guys tell me a little more about this Philadelphia Inquirer story on James Franklin? And are we going to go back out to Tony, Chris Cody? Because, Tony, I see that he's still wandering around in the streets out there. Tony, are you ready? Have you found somebody who knows where the Panthers play?
Dan, yes, we always find people. They can't get us from this close to Bayside. So we're going to be Familia, Los Panthers, de hockey. Okay.
Peru?
Literally
Let me
in
ask these
traffic.
guys over here.
Middle of the road.
Oh, we got to go this way.
So,
Guys, the Panthers?
What's going on? Not into it.
Not into it. Where they play?
Do I know who they play?
Where they play?
No, you talking about North Carolina?
Yeah.
Jesus. Florida Panthers, hockey.
Carolina
sorry.
Panthers.
No, I do not.
You don't care? What? You don't care whatsoever?
No, not at all.
They're not from here. They're
Yeah,
tourists.
tourists.
Those are
Ah,
tourists.
turista. Get out of here.
Peru and Italy aren't?
Well, they probably live here. Those people had suitcases.
They were running across the street, Dan. They didn't want to talk to me.
Tony, you have 3 minutes left to find someone in South Florida who knows where the Panthers play.
You can't even cross the street, Tony? They won't even let you be on that little
Oh,
island
we're going
in
to
the
the
middle?
booth.
Okay.
No, we're going to the booth,
zone
guys.
is
Hold on. We
there.
got
Go
to
ahead.
hurry up. Here
He
we go.
didn't check in.
I am not used to
Poor Rose.
With trick.
not used to Miami having so many rules. Miami is lawless.
It's crazy, Dan.
Except for Tony. Tony can't go in anywhere.
Hola.
He's too tall, bruh.
¿Sabes dónde juegan los hockey Panthers?
No sé.
No. ¿Sabes de hockey?
No sé de hockey.
¿Sabes de los Panthers?
Sé de los Panthers, pero me imagino que debe ser en West Palm Beach.
West Palm
A
Beach.
good
there you
guess.
go.
A good
Correcto.
guess.
Correcto. West Palm Beach.
Tony, you
Lo
have,
comiste, gracias.
City's excited about this team.
you have 2
That
minutes
was close enough, dude.
and 45 seconds. West Palm Beach is not close enough.
It's closer than everyone else. Everyone else, North Carolina.
It's closer than Miami. I do think it's closer than Miami. But you have 2 minutes
Okay,
and
let's
30
see.
seconds to find someone. And I'm probably not going to go to that James Franklin story in the middle of those.
Maybe
2
Bill
minutes
Simmons
and
was
30
right.
seconds.
I think this guy right here knows.
I just want to say while Tony walks up to the next guy, I feel like my Spanish is getting better. From all these
Guys, you excited about the
excursions.
Panthers? Yeah? Do you guys know where the Panthers play?
No, we're out of town.
You're out of town.
Tourists!
Florida
That's
Panthers
the problem
hockey?
here.
Sure.
Do you know where they play?
Probably the American Airlines Arena.
They nailed
there
it, dude.
it is.
Thank you so
Good.
much.
Nailed everything.
Tony, I think you can do this through the rest of the playoffs. I believe you should be on a hunt to find if anyone in South Florida knows where the Panthers play.
Dan, I barely know where they play.
He needs to go to Brickell. This is too touristy.
You think that's going
Like on the beach, like I don't know, like
This isn't the beach,
not the
though.
beach, but this is like the
Anywhere else.
Bayside. It's touristy. Like this is.
This is downtown. It's downtown Miami. Like it's not. It's that. All of Miami is touristy. He's not gonna. Look, this is a Broward team, Chris. You know this. This is. I don't know how many people are driving from Miami to go see this team because when people think the Panthers play in Miami, this is in traffic a 2-hour drive from where we are. If you try to go in rush hour traffic,
You put this guy in the Weston Town Center, and everyone will know where the Panthers are.
Everybody is pumped
Where
about the
is that?
Panthers
Where's
in
the
the
Weston
Weston
Town
Town
Center?
Center.
I think we should do that. We should send
Tony, no.
Tony on a hunt throughout South Florida to see if he can find people who know where the Panthers play.
I think if he goes to Coyote.
Dan, how much time do I have?
You've got 1 minute left.
Time to hunt.
Or 11.
Oh, I feel this guy right here knows.
Can you get to
You
11?
see him
in a
right here
minute?
through the trees?
Yes. Hurry. Hustle.
Now he
Here we go.
doesn't
This is
have
the
to
guy right
hurry.
here.
All right, we are going to
Feel
see
good about this.
if we can get the big payoff here with 50 seconds.
You
left.
sure you don't want to do 11?
This guy has no clue the pressure
Brother,
on
Florida Panthers, where do they play?
Excuse me.
Florida Panthers, where do they play?
Play hockey.
Yeah, where though?
Fort Lauderdale.
Fort Lauderdale?
There you go.
West, he said West Fort Lauderdale. Thank you, brother.
In your face, Bill Simmons.
Is that better?
Yes!
Sunrise, guys. He said it. Sunrise.
Expert!
Nailed it.
Hockey Town.
Correspondent!
Hockey Town. Hockey Town. Hockey Town. Hockey Town. Hockey Town.
That's right. It's Thursday Thunder, and it's brought to you by DraftKings. Stay tuned because you'll hear all about DraftKings and all it has to offer throughout the show. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Thursday Thunder. Juju, what do we got?
We're going to start in the association. You already know what's going on. The biggest game in the world tonight. The Boston Celtics versus the Indiana Pacers. Andrew Nembhard is at 4.5 assists. I think the brother will get more than 4.5 assists tonight because he's been facilitating. Like Stan Van Gundy says, he's been put into passing positions even at his short height. So go with 4.5 over Andrew Nembhard tonight.
Just by itself.
No, that's leg number one. And also, too, disclaimer, you could pick some of these apart. If you like one or two of these, pick them. This is just my 3 picks for tonight. Always pick and choose which one you like. Next, we're going to move.
I need to tell people just so they understand that Juju is taking a great deal more care with this than I believe is taken with Against the Spread, where everybody just farts out a pick and there's not a lot of thought.
Billy nailed that one last night, though.
Yeah,
Panthers minus
Panthers
1.5.
by more
I
than
gave
a
you
goal.
that Challengers one last week, Dan, and it won.
Mike Ryan also had the Mavericks last night, but Juju pours himself into these, and when he tells you, feel free to pick 2 or individual ones, I don't believe you've had one in a while, Juju, that is something that loses more than it wins. These have either gone 3-0 or 2-1 for a while.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And to back up some of this, think about it. Tyrese Halliburton has to become a scorer to win this game tonight. Pascal Siakam has to score tonight. Miles Turner as well. And somebody got to pass him the ball at least 4 to 5 times.
Good logic. And the last couple of games, he's gone 6 assists, 7 assists.
Yes, sir, Ski. Moving on to the NHL playoffs. Holy moly. See, people thought I was one-dimensional. I'm a 3D guy.
Really?
You dig me?
I didn't have you as a hockey guy.
I'm gonna listen to my big brother. I'm not gonna expose his name, but he said Leon Draisaitl and them boys last year. So I'm gonna go with Leon Draisaitl tonight over 2.5 attempts on goal. He's gonna shoot that thing at least 3 times tonight. You dig me?
I dig you, and I said that in the most Caucasian way possible. I dig you. But Chris Cody is looking up for us something I'm requesting, which is Chris Mad Dog Russo trying to say the iconic hockey name Draisaitl because he butchered it, and we had it in the system earlier this week, and I want to play it here before we get out of here. The third leg?
The third leg, and I'm going to expose, it was Michael Schur, my brother. Salute to Michael Schur. He's always believed in Leon Draisaitl, and I believe in him too.
A strange protection of his anonymity there. I don't understand why you didn't tell us Mike Schur.
You know what I mean? Us C's, we stick together. I don't know if my boy won his name in this Thursday Thunder. It might be a loser. You know, I don't want to attach his name to something that could potentially lose. But know that I'm placing these bets as well with you guys. The last leg, we're going to travel to the WNBA. We got the Notre Dame alum, Marina Mabrey, 5.5 rebounds tonight against your New York Liberty. You dig me? I think she will get more than 5.5 rebounds because she's more than just a guard, a shooter. She's a pure shooter, wet from anywhere on the court, but she also crashes and follows her shot. Unlike a lot of people these days, they shoot it and they take a picture with their hand in the air. No, follow your shot. And she's a great example of a woman that shoots the ball and follows her shot. So she will get 6 rebounds tonight against the Liberty.
I have been startled at how good you are at picking who's going over in rebounds in the WNBA because when you pick these, they tend to go over very quickly. These have been cashed bets that cash in the second, early in the second half. So you haven't even made us sweat some of that stuff. How have you felt and how have you suffered generally your recent picks? Because we have not had and these are hard. 3-team parlays are hard, but you have not had a 3-team parlay winner in a while after a hot streak. So, and you suffer these things.
Yes, I literally am depressed over it. I'm so I asked my girl, I put all these bets in myself, and I'm hanging on to every game. I got a couple TVs at the house, and so I'm watching all of these games, and I live and die by these picks. And I hate when I lose people money. Oh my goodness, it hurts my heart. So I make sure I'm I'm at least practicing what I preach. I'm not giving you ever any random things. These are things that I'm putting my money on tonight, Daddy.
But you're also looking for inefficiencies. You're looking for things that look wrong in where the lines are because you happen to believe in a player more. Because you tend to go over here. You don't go unders. You're even a positive better. You don't go unders. You're not rooting for anyone to not have success.
Right, and a lot of stuff be hitting, bro. I just don't want to be on wax being a hater. Like, I don't want to be like, this person tonight will not do a great job, and it just sits with me. So I always want to go over, and I definitely trust my picks tonight. Andrew Nembhard, oh my God, I feel like if anyone you see, attack that one. Now, why she don't hit?
What about the Iowa unders? Will you bet those?
Absolutely. And because of my sister, too. We hit the bar last night. We were cheering, not last night, last year. We were cheering punt, punt, punt. I'm always going to bet on the Iowa under. Get it?
Can you get for me, Chris, have you been able to find Chris Mad Dog Russo trying to say the iconic hockey name Draisaitl?
But the Oilers with McDavid, the other kid, how you pronounce the other kid's name? He is great. The kid from Germany. Dratzel, what is it? How's his name? Colin, stop looking at your hockey schedule at Chelsea Pier. And what the hell was the kid? What's the kid's name? He's almost like he's into the pass more than he is into the shot.
Leon Draisaitl we're talking about?
Draisaitl. Oh, God, that guy's good. Oh, he's good. Dratzel.
Yes, Caliente Dratzel is it's a hockey player that I would bet on to have the over in assists and scoring.
Dratzel.
Caliente Dratzel. Lucy, it's nice to see you again. You're not around here enough, and I didn't think the show had enough Lucy today.
Oh, that's okay. I'm running off like 2 hours of sleep. I took ZQuil, didn't even work. I had my nice pillow, so that helped a little bit, but I got to be honest. I walked in, I told Jeremy, I said, this had so much sugar in it, so I said, I will have a really strong, first 2 hours, and then after that, goodbye.
I think we should end this post-game show by celebrating how Jeremy ended our live hour.
I want to do that because I really did enjoy the laughter in the other room as a red-faced Jeremy walked out there to really a cavernous, echoing laughter of many thousands of people just roaring in his face. I did enjoy that. I felt both bad for Jeremy, but good for the general communal culture of our building to have everyone laugh together at Jeremy. But before we do that, can I get to some social media critique and commentary today about the show? Because I thought today had, I mean, nothing's going to do better than Triumph the Insult Comic Dog. That's the best we did. But Tony, for having that as the opener, Tony followed that pretty well. That's a tough act to follow.
Yeah, and we had a poll that unfortunately has taken over the mentions right now. Is it rude to lean your seat back on airplanes? This is a chaos scene. The chat is going crazy right now. One person says the seats are meant to recline. I'm not asking another passenger if I can recline the seat I paid for. That's M. Matthews says that. And other people are saying that it's ridiculously rude. 69% of the audience said that it's extremely rude, but the poll is still going.
All right, and that one always triggers people. Let's get to what happened with Jeremy here because he petered out. Jeremy, you have to understand, Jeremy, as a broadcaster, has had a great deal of success early in his career, an unusual amount of success. So when he soars towards stardom, he's jogging effortlessly. Everyone likes when he trips right before the finish line. It's more enjoyable. It's like when Whittingham did it, right? Where you're like, yeah, we get it, Whittingham. You're good at this, but it's better and funnier when you're not.
He's the number one Steph. Curry. Oh, man, I messed it up.
Yeah.
And there's a meme for you right there, just enjoying. Yep, you did mess it up.
He's the number one Steph. Curry. Oh, man, I messed it up.
Yeah.